It's like, okay, let's play, let's see what I can do. And he qualifies, he comes in, he's 1-1, he's got an opponent that it's realistic he could get to 2-1 against as well and have a shot to making playoffs. Bly made it there last time as well, which is just wild. So yeah, there's just something sneaky about this guy. It's almost like when people don't get to practice against him for a while, he becomes like even more powerful again because people aren't used to his trickeries and all the rest. There's not enough people proxy hatching on the ladder. So in the bottom right, opening with an early pool, it is going to be Bly, our blue Zerg.
And with a Giga early probe scout on the top left-hand side, it is Spatz for Berserk. So he'll go for the hatch block, but Bly's already well ahead of that, as he has already dropped a 14 pool, very unusual. No gas to follow either, and we're looking for a proxy hatch. There's no doubt in my mind. Just a matter of where will he place it, more likely than not in the natural itself, but it could also be in the wall if he wants to be extra annoying, as there's no buildings here yet, so the wall it is. Bly is my spirit animal.
Yeah, he really is your spirit animal. I mean, well, I feel like you should be his spirit animal because you're cats, right? But, you know, same idea as, and you have
contemporaries
hatching dropping down. So yeah, no, I like this. I think it's fun. You know, obviously it plays on the idea that your opponent's going to know that you're proxying soon enough anyways because the probe's there, so you may, there's no reason not to put it in the front. And what this means is it's very difficult to get a proper wall up so that then you can actually do a lot more with your early Zerglings than what you might usually be given by your opponent when you're kind of, just kind of sending these lings across the map and then they fully wall off and then you got to deal with the Zealot dance and everything. In this case, it's going to be actually tough for Spatz to break out and to protect his gateway, and if he loses a gateway, that's oftentimes already very good for Zerg. Of course, in this case, it's costing Bly more than usual because the hatchery's there, so we'll see how it all ends up, but I like it so far. Going to start getting some good damage onto this gateway as, yeah, I mean, this is exactly what Bly's playing for, right? Zealot's going to pop out, and it's going to go on the other side.
Yeah, but the hatchery will have to get cancelled pretty soon here, as you don't want to trade the hatchery for the gateway itself. So the gateway won't even go down. Bly looking for an angle, but the corner that he created for himself is a little bit too difficult to pass. And on the other side, of course, he already decided that he's going to be trying to transition here. I would love 2 links, just 2 links, be nice 3 even. But the adept pops up, and that's going to be the end of the fun of Bly. There's no link speed whatsoever on the way either. So, I mean, that was perfect reaction from Spatz for this particular hatchery. He scouted Bly inside his main. He saw no gas, so likely no follow-up with a link float or something like that, and just reacted perfectly. You don't want that hatchery to go up. If you are Bly and you calculate that hatchery is likely to go up, then it's very likely you send a couple drones, make a spine, be annoying. Instead, I mean, this one's hopeless. Yeah.
Just buys time, I guess. Keeps the Zealots over here, which maybe is nice because then you don't have to deal with them on the other side. So, yeah, it's obviously never going to go up, but I think Bly goes into this very much so knowing that, as those couple of Zealots will keep on swiping and dicing. And the Robo facility coming through on the side of Spatz, so he's not expanding just yet. Going to drop the Robo down and potentially could have some power if he gets a Prism up, gets some power going off that. Could be actually very fun.
It could be very fun because I feel like he had on the... Oh my god, Bly not reacting with his Zerglings. I mean, that's extremely uncharacteristic at this level of play. That means the Adepts are going to get at least a few drones. At least one of them gets blocked off before it can get to the mineral line, which means it's death. The other one will find one more drone before getting out. And 2 Adepts for 4 drones is not bad at all for Spatz. However, since he didn't take the Nexus right away and he went for the Robo, it's also maybe not the end of the world for Bly.
Yeah, Bly has some wiggle room on taking damage as this drone is just going to walk in again. You ever want to just go scout what's going on? Have a good time. Couple probes. Get it. Okay, cool. I mean, the Robo's at the front. Everything you need to see is at the front anyways. We're going to go Robo Bay on the follow-up from Spatz, so he's really going to double down most likely here on some further aggression. And just, yeah, probably get some... I mean, he could get Prism speed here, go for Disruptor drops as well. A lot of things he can do to really get things settled down as these few lings work around that right side.
Yeah, I mean, these links are probably not going to find much, but speed is about to kick in, so there's no reason to be out on the map. And maybe just check for thirds and whatnot. With the lure finishing, I'm almost certain that Bly is going to be looking for an elevator play into the main, given the position of the Overlord. So if he can get a gateway here, that'll be really nice. I don't think that he was looking for the gateway, but Shield Battery Overcharge will be popped instead. On the other side, however, the links are not here, which gives free reign for the Adepts to continue to do damage, and they've already found 3 extra workers. Spatz unable to control it further, but as the Adept does sneak into the main and there's no queens there, it becomes a little bit more difficult for Bly. Still working at that gateway on the other side as the Zealots have gotten involved now. The Adept finds yet another couple of kills as it gets ready to disengage, and all 3 queens were pulled into the main, and you know what that means, Radicio.
Spatz is running around blind circles. That's what it means, Kat. It is not a pretty game right now for Bly. He's taking a lot of losses. Spatz is looking to be complete and total control, quite frankly. I mean, this is just way too much damage to be taking. And apart from this Disruptor being a little bit stuck over here, everything's going pretty well. Of course, Prism can save that guy, get him out of there when needed. And yeah, this is just in general, it's just looking good, man. Like, Spatz has done things right. You know, he's done good damage on the follow-up. He defended well. He really kept his cool, and that's what it's all about when you play against Bly, right? Making sure you don't let things get a little bit out of hand or anything along those lines. He's done a very good job of that, as he does lose 1 Zealot to the right side.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate indeed, as there is a Spire going up for Bly, but this is a classic Bly move as well. He loves his Muta, especially on when he's on the back foot, and I've seen him work some magic with them, but I'm not sure that this is going to be the game for it, as he is lagging pretty far behind at the moment, and 6 extra workers falling from the single Disruptor shot is going to put a smile on Spatz's face.
Yep, absolutely. That's what you want, right? You get in there with your Disruptor, you get some damage done, you're able to find yourself a good little bit of effectiveness, and again, just building upon what you've already set out on in this game, which is you're going to keep doing damage, and so far that's been great. Going to add a bunch of gateways, probably going to hit a time which is going to be very scary for someone trying to build meters, and it's not going to be enough meters that like a few Stalker Warpins shouldn't be able to deal with them if it's going to be one big attack anyway, so I think that's going to be the problem. Like, this would be maybe an issue for Spatz if there was like 10 or 11 meters. It's going to be like 5 or 6. It's very manageable, and I think his push has got a lot of potential as the Disruptor does get out with the Prism.
Yeah, especially because Spatz knows his position. He is going for like basically what you could call a 2-base all-in, but it's not really all-in given the position that Bly is in. He's actually out macroing him with his all-in, so that's never where you want to be. And if you cross the map and you get the first Stalker Warp in, then the Muta have a very difficult choice to make, which is cross the map while you're getting attacked, near impossible, and then like there might be Stalker Warpins back there too. Oh, okay, but it's a couple of Zealots warped in, so not very many Stalkers. So Bly might actually have a small shot at defending this with the Muta.
There's a chance. The Mutas are going to go up the right-hand side at the moment, though, so at the moment we're just going to be seeing our Protoss attacking into the natural. I kind of feel like you got to turn around. I just do not see the Mutas doing enough going across the other side. We actually cancel the Stalker warping because he's going to warp in back at home, I think, is the situation. So that's fine because he's got more than enough over here right now. 4 Stalkers back at home already. Going to start fighting the Mutas. And you can just see the Mutas do not kill these Stalkers fast enough. And again, maybe if this was still 3 gates, but there's so many gates available. There's so much production available in this scenario. And yeah, on this side, the Roach is actually starting to do okay. The Colossus is kind of low in the end. So this is actually going to get cleaned up over here. But I mean, that's less Bly things, I guess. Just makes things happen when they kind of shouldn't be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really focusing a lot of his attention on the Muta and leaving the Roaches, which are a little bit easier to just attack move, basically, on defense. So Bly doing the best out of a sticky situation. Like, it's so difficult to make the decision to move across the map when your opponent's army is already on your side. So so props to him for finding a little bit of damage, 6 probes worth, and for the first time in the game, he's actually ahead in supply of the Protoss player, though granted with a few Roaches.
That's crazy, Cats. Like, how does Bly do these things? Like, it shouldn't have been good for him. Like, let's just be realistic. It shouldn't have been good for him. And here we are, you know? Dude is up a bunch of supply, and he actually is getting up to a Muta count again. He's going to force his opponent into blink, and Prism had to go home. Like, Bly just kind of makes it happen for the moment, at least. So, yeah, Bly doing some crazy things. And, again, that's kind of the power of Bly, man. Like, sometimes his games just don't really make sense.
It doesn't, right? Because if you don't get attacked and if you don't cross with the Muta, then you're behind in workers the entire time. So it's like a huge gamble that he takes just to make army instead of any drones when you're going Muta, right? It's so counterintuitive. You're basically betting on your opponent attacking and committing and failing at that attack on the back of, you making basically only units and not very many drones. But it works out. So so he's back in the game. I think this is pretty much anyone's game at this point.
Oh,
Spatz army looks scary.
Yeah, I mean, it looks scary, but then it's Bly, so I'm not going to believe a cat until we see it. Stalkers are going to go poke away and kill off that Overlord off on the side. So nice to be able to get rid of that nice and quickly. Just going to be having ourselves the Stalkers in the main base are going to fight against a few of those meters as well. So again, just going to get active straight away. And just going to find ourselves...
A Colossus, gotta be careful, Colossus!
Okay, I like that. I mean, I guess if this army just pushes, though, and the main army of Bly is meters, then this shouldn't be good.
It shouldn't. And yet, I mean, here we go. More damage onto the probes. And yet, Blink not yet done either for Spatz, so unable to defend as well as he would like. He is fully walled off in his natural, so he doesn't want to deal with any counter aggression, and that means he's slowly evacuating it with War Prism, just crossing his own trench or whatever you might call it. Blink is ready. One Muta will pay the price. And in the natural, there's not Stalkers, but the main Stalkers should be able to blink down and shoo the Mutas away. And Spatz gets ready for his last stand. I mean, if this fails, he's done.
Yeah, no, he really needs to get damage done. And to be fair, Bly's doing the right thing, man. He's building roaches, he's preparing, he knows what he's putting his opponent onto.
Oh, yeah.
And the Roach Ravager count so far looks pretty darn good, cats. There's already roaches across the map as well. Oh my god.
What the hell?
What
are these doing here? Okay, this don't make any sense. Like I do not care. Like, I mean, the Muta are in the main, so Bly is definitely putting Spatz all in. If Spatz can't breach right now, then he's dead pretty much. And Bly is looking to do a wonderful job sectioning off the Immortals as well. Beautiful piles to make sure that he takes the isolated fight against the Stalkers. Bly has time on his side right now, so he doesn't even need to chase, and he won't.
Nope, he just sits there. Muta's obviously doing the damage. Spatz is the one that must commit in. How did Bly turn this around, man? Spatz has such a good early game. It's just the chaos that ensues, you know? I guess in the end, should you have moved out against the Mutas? Well, he didn't know there was Mutas, so yeah. I don't know, somehow his army on the other side. I wonder if the mistake was almost actually warping in Stalkers to fight the Mutas off at home. Because if he just kept the Stalkers warping in on the other side of the map, it would have been a base trade with 8 Mutas that just don't do damage to base trade anywhere soon enough, right? Then this army wouldn't have ever gotten cleaned up in the first place. Maybe that's the mistake that Spatz made as Bly takes game 1.
That is wild. I mean, either that or, you know, sending a hallucination or something like that and seeing like, oh, you actually have no drones at your third. That's wild. I'm just not going to attack. I'm going to take my third. I'm ahead in probes, right? Ahead in tech. So there's multiple avenues here. But with Bly, he's so tricky. He's going to do some sort of all-in. This was a defensive all-in, which you only get to say in Bly games, right? He's just like hoping that you will attack him and then you do, because he's got 13 years experience and playing at this level.
Yeah, no, he's pretty good, man. Bly is just something else sometimes, you know. Like he's just so in it. Like it's almost like the Bly factor is just like it makes people kind of not know what to do against him, because he'll just do things confidently that other people would never really do, and that's the difference. Because then you're like, huh, that shouldn't be good. So I'm just gonna continue as I go. But then disregarding that obviously is what makes you kind of, or being unsure about it is what makes you kind of end up in situations like that, where it feels like the game was great for Spatz, and then there's a moment that turns the game around, and from there, Bly takes control of it and he runs with it.
Yeah, he's not afraid of losing, certainly. He's not afraid of looking bad or looking, he's just, you know, sometimes what he's doing will look ridiculous, right? Because, again, you scout him, you see no drones at the third, you lost the game. But if you didn't scout him and you attack him, you know, he wins a game that he should stand no reason to win, right? Like, he lost, like, what, like 10 drones to 1 adept or something? Yeah, I mean, that's just wild. I mean, the guy's a genius.
All right, well, we're going to dive into our second map here and see whether the madman himself can take a second game and the series. In the bottom left corner, the blue Zerg player is Bly.
Defeated mana to get here. And the top right-hand side, it is Spatz. Defeated mana to get here.
Look, it was just like, it was the one thing that linked them going into this series. Cass, what do you want me to say? Like,
you in chat, have you defeated mana today? That's the real question.
Well, they didn't defeat Mana today. It was the other day.
It is actually rather surprising to see Mana. He is down 0-2. I guess it is these two. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. I see. That's wild.
Yeah, it turns out he actually got beaten by Spatz and Bly.
Yeah, one of the veterans at the scene at this point. Like, I mean, he's such a good player, and like when he turns up, like, you know, he'll show up big time. But This time around, he's up against the wall. However, these two fighting for their lives, and yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, I could see Mana over the next day or two whenever he plays. I could see him just going 1-2, 2-2, and compete for playoffs, you know? Like, 0-2 does not suit Mana. I'd be very surprised if he went 0-3. I really think he's going to start pulling it back a little bit, so definitely hope there, as there is a proxied hatchery. I mean, not really anything surprising. It's Bly. There's going to be a hatchery somewhere, so there you go. It's in the natural, and this time it's on the base, so it's the Nexus block, and Spatz is just going to pull 5 probes, which is the perfect number to make sure this goes down, alongside the Zealot, without needing to let it finish up.
Yeah, it also indicates that he wants his Nexus a little bit quicker, perhaps. I mean, just like 3 probes on the Zealot, or even just 2 probes on the Zealot would be enough. He doesn't really know what Bly is doing behind this, though, so having extra probes there in case there's like links on the way or something like that could be really nice. But he did have a pro scout as well, and the reason he is staggering his probes like he is so that there's not an Evo chamber block, or so that it's more difficult, as all of the probes will encroach right away. Regardless, Bly fast enough on his fingers to use the minimum amount of time to drop that Evo chamber. It doesn't last very long with this amount of damage output, so he's just going to use his drone as a scout. But I like this opening. It's a classic.
You know what, though? I mean, if there's anyone that's built an Evo chamber on a cancelled hatchery more than anyone else, it's probably Bly, so you just got to accept. He's going to be quicker than that. Like, he's quicker than the average player when it comes to that one, as the hatchery does go down the main. Again, this just takes attention right now. The units have to go and deal with this a little bit. The Zealot pulls back from the middle of the map, and these are things that then Bly can start to use to his advantage.
Yeah. And I mean, like, he is my spirit animal. This just makes the game weird, right? Like, on the other side, it's very difficult, especially a less experienced player like Spatz. It can really throw players off. So that is a lot of what this sort of build does, right? You use it every time, and the best players in the world are just gonna crush you, I think. But you know, a less experienced player doesn't know how to react perfectly, or is very used to like things going normally, and they rely on that to some degree. And then, you know, with the pressure added of an event like this one, and you're getting in your head and trying to wonder and figure things out, you can easily overthink things. And yeah, this kind of move is, Scarlet calls it brain damage builds.
Yeah. Well, last starts up from Bly as Spatz is continuing into Twilight and Robo Facility. And I wonder if Spatz just kind of plays something almost simpler this time around. You know, last time it was kind of technical, the Disruptor and the Colossus and everything. What if you just build Glaives and then like a lot of Adepts, you know? Like, can Bly sustain against that kind of like a play? As Glaives going to start up. I think it was just the obvious choice.
We'll have to find out. Yeah. But I mean, if his Glaive Adepts do as much as his last 2 Adepts, you would think that he's in a good spot.
Yep.
And yet, I mean, last time around, 2 Adepts killed like 10 drones. It didn't matter. Bly's just too good.
Too good. He's unstoppable. Well, Adept shade out. Not going to do too much. Gateways continuing up. Prism on the way. Resonating Glaives coming out. Bringing all this through as that one probe is going to move down to the natural, out onto the map a little bit. Gateway's about to finish up here from Spatz. And the Overlord, like I say, just keeping an eye on things overhead for a little bit longer as well.
Yes, indeed. So we'll see what this shapes up to be. Bly already with a Roach run on the way as well. Lair already completed too, so we can expect the Roach speed actually a little bit off sync, right? Like the Roach run would have been nice to have in conjunction with the Lair, but a little bit sloppy here from Bly. Gotta start that Roach speed right away. Or not, I mean, up to him.
How much does Glaive Adepts work against 2 bases? Like, Bly's just like, yeah, no third base.
Not
then,
much.
Yeah, the movement of the Adepts matters so much less than usual, so very intriguing scenario we get into. These Roaches coming up. Obviously, the Dark Shrine is maybe not that great of a call because we're going to have an Overseer available. Obviously, you can still get past the Overseer, but in theory, the setup is there to be able to deal with the DTs in the follow-up. It's not like you're going to scrap together Spores because you're trying to defend the Adepts with Hatch Tech only. So there's a world where this actually ends up very well for Bly. He walls off as well, so the Adepts cannot shade into the natural. And that means the Adepts just can't really do much right away. Bly even adding on a few more drones during this. He is not worried at all. As Spatz gets himself an Immortal. And yeah, honestly feels as though Spatz is going to set up for a very aggressive attack, but well, that or he's just going to play very defensive because obviously he's worried about the 2 bases, which would probably make more sense.
Yeah, it's more likely to be the Adept. Jeez, Spatz is really doing a lot for 2 bases, isn't he? Like Dark Shrine, Immortals, Charge. And this
Absolutely.
Glaive Adepts, like that's a lot of tech to invest into on 2 base, so I have to imagine he'll be pretty committed to this.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what I thought. But then if Bly's only on 2 bases, like, do you commit to it? Like,
Right.
like that's what I mean.
You shouldn't.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. Overseer
brain
starts to
damage,
morph. He knows about the DT, so he's going to block with the roaches. A couple of them will give their lives to ensure the drone line stays very safe. The Adepts will not find the way in as the Evo Chamber is still there to block. DT dies, does not get saved, and a Nidus on the way from Bly.
I like it.
Well, I think I'd like it too if his opponent wasn't being so aggressive himself, which might be a natural defense. I don't know, Kat. We've got a mess of a game right here.
It really is a brain damage type game. I mean, let's see if it works out. The Overlord that was kind of at the third pooping creep, it also has vision up the high ground. So this is a double whammy Overlord, and that is where the Nidus is going to go down completely unsuspected. So Bly just... why would he? He knows where the Overlord is. It's so difficult to anticipate. Oh, this Overlord also has high ground vision just barely. So Spatz is going to take it down, but the view is out. The Nidus is ready. Here come the roaches, and Spatz does not know. I mean, he is now recalling. There is 2 Immortals. He should be able to be okay here, but there's no shield battery whatsoever either. So Bly definitely... I think if you're Spatz, maybe go for the Nidus. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, one Immortal goes down. Took quite a few shots, though. These roaches are taking some heavy hits. That's a lot of losses. The Adept damage is adding up over time. Gonna get a Stalker. We can get this last Immortal too, but it's gonna come at a cost. Now the Prison's back, so the Micro begins as well. I think dive back in the Nidus. Bly, time to get out of here. He's gonna wait for Queens to show up. Okay, Bly's just gonna double down. He's not afraid of losing, Cass. That's what it is.
It really is. Like, yeah, he's really not afraid at all. Oh my, I mean, that was wild. No third inside either, so I'm not sure what the... I have no idea.
I think,
he's
honestly...
floating 2,000 resources on 2 bases. Well, this game is just actually wild.
I honestly think, like, it was unlucky. I actually think it would have worked beautifully if Spatz... And he's got the backup infestation bit for Swarmers, naturally, 2 cats.
Naturally.
I think it would have worked if Spatz had been any sort of normal himself, right? If Spatz had said, I'm going to try and get a third. But of course, Spatz knew there was no third apply, so I think that's where it obviously all kind of went wrong. If he just tried to put a third hatch down, but then he didn't want to defend a third hatch as well.
Yeah, I think this game is so strange because both players are kind of committed to the aggression regardless of what their opponent is doing, basically, right? So they both kind of had their idea in mind, and it's a hectic game, a difficult game to read, so it's difficult to make the best decisions, which sometimes is just, you know, chill, take a third, defend, or change your plan according to what your opponent is doing, but not the case here. The next Nidus is here, and it's Stormhost this time around. Remember, Spatz is only on 2 base, so you snipe that Nexus, you put him in the same position as last time. This time around, however, it will be substantially more difficult to hold, so maybe Bly, I don't even know, go inside your main, hold at your main ramp? This is gonna be wild.
Yep, Evo Chamber goes down, so he's going to wall. He has Locust killing off the Natural and the Probes there.
No.
So, he has to defend here. He's going to have to use the Locust defensively now, of course, and he's going to try and go for the Immortals, but there's micro potential, of course, and Spatz is going to post on through. There is surely no way. The army supply of Bly is one big lie, because he doesn't have a, because he doesn't have, you know, Swarmhost ready, so... His army supply ain't that great. As if they pop out, maybe there's some hope, but Immortals are jumping on top. Here come the Locust. There's Prism Micro as well, of course. The Locust lands straight on in. There's extra Zealots here to deal with them. I'm going to go ahead and say this one is all about Spatz.
Yep, it's going to be a 1-1 series almost for sure that Immortal can be saved, but it doesn't. And the Locusts are doing what they can. And yeah, it looks like Spatz got this one in the bag.
Kind of a wild little fight towards the end, though. I mean, maybe there was some hope. I liked how Bly approached it, but just not enough. As GG is called, and we are going to go to the game 3 of this best of 3. 1-1 for these guys. No one faced an elimination or anything here today, but obviously such a difference. 2-1, 2 chances of making playoffs. 1-2, got to then play for your life every series you play from there. So yeah, it's a very different feel.
Yeah, looking from the outside of that game, like as we have God vision and we can assess the situation in advance, I think Bly should just go in his main and try to hold there. Probably pull the drones to his natural into his ramp and just hold the ramp, because you do have Stormhost, so you do have him on a tighter timing. Like even if you go down to 1 base, you're still probably in a good position with the Stormhost out on the map. But yeah, I mean, even then I don't think he holds, but that's his best shot. and you know, if you hold, you win. So probably the better approach, but I'm sure in that game I would have done the same thing as him, right? Because there's so little time to actually assess the army and be like, yeah, I should retreat to the ramp.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. All right, guys. Well, we're going to be just waiting for Spatz for a couple of moments. Once he's ready again, we'll be right back into the action. Take you over to the schedule quickly and talk a bit about what's coming up in Americas. This is our last map of Europe about to happen, and then we're going to be having ourselves Scald versus Disc coming up, followed by Special versus Kalazur. Estrella taking on Eric, and Future is going to be fighting against Egg. So some fun matches there, cats. I think we're going to be looking forward to those. And yeah, just a fun day ahead of us still. A whole new region to explore coming up.
Hells yeah.
Hells yeah, so look forward to all of that, guys, obviously, as we make our way through. Like I say, just waiting for Spatz, so it'll just be a couple of moments while we wait on him. I'll just bring us over and very quickly mention, of course, once again, a big thank you to our sponsors, Blizzard Entertainment, Monster Energy, the United States Air Force, and ESL Shop. You love it, you wear it, and you can even wear it to Atlanta, where you can get your tickets for the offline finals right now. DreamHack.com/Atlanta/tickets. 20% off with the code StarCraft. Not sure that code works for the Georgia Aquarium, but you could ask. I mean, you send an email.
You could ask, it might.
Yeah. Maybe they can do that.
Not too expensive of a ticket. The Georgia Aquarium is just beautiful. And yeah, I mean, the convention itself, Atlanta last year was insane. It was just such amazing energy and so many StarCraft people, and everyone's just friendly there, and it's awesome. So yeah, if you get a chance, you should definitely do that, as the game is finally ready.
Get that, guys. If it's anything like last year, it'll be something to see. As yeah, the game is ready, so enough of us doing the things that are not talking about the game. We'll be inside of it in just a moment for Hector. Map 3 of the series, and Bly and Spatz are fighting to go 2-1, or 1-2, or to avoid going 1-2. As we dive in,
Hector?
bottom left.
Hector?
Hector. This one's definitely Hector. I've learned this one a long time.
Okay.
Bottom
All right.
Also Greek, by the way. All the map names are just Greek this season, apparently. So, bottom left-hand side, it is going to be our blue Zerg player, Bly.
And in the top right-hand side, it is our red Protoss player, Spatz. Oh, wow.
I just felt like really bring the power in for him in this game 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good wobbles.
I'm winding him up to unleash some Protoss madness, you know?
Love it. And Bly, I mean, I respect this. He was thinking, okay, I'm going to go for the hatchery. There's no way you do a probe pool after I open pool first twice in a row. But still accounts for the potential of the probe pool by pulling the drone early enough that he can just reposition to the third. But we have a standard CVP opening in our hands, Wardicho.
Terrifying. What the heck does Bly do if he plays standard? Yeah. I think as Spatz, you'd almost like to play against the proxy stuff again, you know? Like, I don't know, because this means he's got something planned for later in the game, right? Like, yeah, so...
Good point.
Yeah, I don't know. Not loving it from Spatz.
Yeah, I also love that Bly doesn't get baited by the hybrid base here on this map. Just absolutely horrible base. And it's just so far away for the little gain that you get from the few rich patches, you know.
Very true.
Nothing too crazy going on in a Bly game. Something's up, or something's in the
I
air.
know,
What do
you know what
think
it
he's gonna
is.
do?
Sometimes you go into a series and like, I don't really need to know what I'm going to talk about because as Bly does it, I'll just say what he does, and then he just does like
exactly.
he just does the absolute normal, and you're like, this I'm not prepared for this, cats. You know, I don't know what I'm actually meant to say if Bly's just playing normally because it doesn't make sense to me. I don't actually know when it's going to turn around and do something different, so. Yeah, I'm kind of just waiting, especially PvZ. It takes a couple minutes to figure out what we're going to do here.
Exactly. It's interesting because in most PvCs, I think we would be talking about the Georgian Aquarium or some shit like that and just expecting that that's perfectly fine. But because it's Bly, you're just, you know, like, my eyes
on
are
point.
just on the production tab, just looking on the map, on the mini-map.
Yeah, we're really waiting, you know, because at any point could be the moment it all like, oh, it's that Bly build, right? But like, nope, just the third hatchery goes down, Link Speed's on the way, Spatz is like, I'll play a standard Stargate, and yeah, if you hit the names of these players, cats, I don't know who it could be. It could be Serral right now.
It could be Serral. It could be Serral versus Showtime. I mean, who knows? It's pretty standard. Stargate, most likely an Oracle. Bly, still looking at the production tab. No lair whatsoever. What's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm Spatz, I'm shitting my pants, that's for sure. It's like,
I know.
you know.
Absolutely terrified. Like, I guess though, like you're about to get the Oracle, you're gonna be able to start scouting with it, and the moment that Oracle can get information, you're like, okay, take a deep breath. It's happening. I'm in a normal game. And then I mean, you gotta just keep scouting. That's the main thing. Keep that Oracle alive. I almost don't like the idea of getting drones with it. You know, just make sure you scout. Make sure you see that it's still normal and keep an eye on whatever could be happening. Let's see what he does. Oracle just go across the map.
And Spatz confident enough to take a third against Bly, so he's not really falling for the trickery, which is the classic, like, there's a saying that's been going on forever, right, on Reddit. I'm sure someone's already said it in the Twitch chat too, like, the best thing a cheeser can do is play macro. But, you know, it usually doesn't work, because if you're a cheeser, you're not good at macro, and yeah, so you know, it better pay off to where your opponent is terrified or something like that. And Bly does find a couple of adepts here, but the links are already bruised up, does find a good surround onto one of them, so one of them will go down, but the second one should clean up easily. Nothing too crazy still. 14 links, okay.
Yeah, but it's not
a
even
bit out of the ordinary.
Yeah, it's not. It's maybe a bit more than usual, but it's almost like, hey, there might be adepts on the map soon, and maybe I'll put a bit of pressure on with it. Like, it's not so far out of step that you're even kind of like shouting the layers at a normal timing. And maybe when the lair finishes, we're just going to whack down a Nidus network and or start, like, you know, dropper lords and overlord speed or something, right? Maybe that's where the twist comes, but it really has been nothing but standard for the first few minutes. Or maybe Bly just hits like a fairly standard, like, Roach Green Walk or something, you know? Like, just hits aggression and...
Yeah, I mean, the Roach one and the timing is perfectly vanilla here.
No,
it's crazy now. The probes are gonna start going down in the natural. Luckily for Spatz, there was an Oracle popping up, so damage will be mitigated, minimized to just the 5 probes. Actually, that's way less than I was expecting for that run by. So yeah, the game will continue as per normal. Make it 6. 7.
Well, that's 7 probes. I mean, that's still 7 probes you shouldn't have ever lost here. Now Bly's like, oh, 14 lings are really good. He's gonna build the lucky 14 again here. So 14 once more. There is a few adepts going across, so this time he needs to make sure he can surround these, shut these down. A couple of roaches really would not feel amiss just to make sure you're okay. I mean, you can look at this and just see that Bly is a bit down on army supply. Only just now retaking a worker lead. As the Oracle's come out the other side, Adept's going to get there. A couple lings going to fire in the Queen. It's going to go down, going for a second one. Obviously, these things now do commit in. We lose one Oracle, but I feel like Spatz is obviously somewhat comfortable with the damage he's dealing. A lot of lings going down. The Adept's still pretty healthy, honestly. This was a great little attack in for Spatz.
It really was. And yeah, right now, I mean, Spatz, despite that ling run by, he's 5 workers ahead. This was very good, like you were saying. Loses an Oracle, but who cares? Bly loses Queens in turn. And yeah, things are looking pretty good for Spatz, especially because Bly, again, is saving a lot of money. I don't know what he's saving for, but I mean, those could have been roaches instead of Zerglings. He could have spent most of his bank in that process, but he didn't. And that puts him in an awkward position.
Yeah, Spy now on the way.
No, actually, maybe it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to try and play into mutas, which, to be fair, if you think of Bly of old, when he didn't play super crazy, a lot of the time just, you know, going into mutas is the way that you can still cause chaos on the map, be, you know, all over the place, trying out micro your opponent, make them make some bad decisions. And maybe that's just the idea right here. There's the blink and the +1 coming through from Spatz. Those should, in theory, give him a good spot. Against this, that is a drop lord that gets a few lings in the main base. So nice. 5 probes go down again, and Bly is still finding some damage. And he does need something. It's not been a great 7 minutes of the game for him, honestly. Like, he has been the one taking more damage. Even with a couple of run bys, I feel like his macro's been off. He's still behind on workers right now until he just caught back up and overtook. So, yeah, things like this are honestly necessary and putting him in the right direction at least.
Yeah, for sure. This is very much a game. I mean, he established this 4th now. The creep spread is not amazing, but it's been a hectic-ish. Actually, not a super Bly game, but, you know, some rambys, some chaos. And you're right, Muta are the perfect unit for that. So let's see. Bly is already saving enough to make 8 or 9 Muta. That's a very substantial number, especially when your opponent is working off of a double robo.
Yeah, absolutely. As 8 meters come through, +1 missiles coming out. What Queen's going to get here? Oracles will not do too much else. 3 drones going down. The Roaches going to fight against a few Adepts over here. So 1, 2, 3 Adepts going down immediately. And guys are going to shoot down the Observer as well. So a few drones killed, but we're getting units back, at least from Bly. And here come the mutas. And that's something the Colossi are not exactly going to do much about.
Yeah, they do a good job of evading the vision of the oracles as the Overlord gives the Muta a heads up that they were heading in their direction. So Spatz should be none the wiser. We don't see any stalkers being warped in whatsoever. The oracles are still maneuvering around. But yeah, the Muta should be able to do a little bit of damage. Stalkers warped into the third, but Bly is going straight into the main where there's only 2 of them. I wonder if he'll engage them or ignore them. Probably just hit one a couple times, then go into the mineral line.
Yeah, he's just going to take a kill. Stalker's a stalker, you're going to get 2. That's fine. As now he moves forward, he's going to find himself a free prism. That's great because that stops aggression across them. But he doesn't send it. Kind of didn't know what he wanted to do there. Now he goes for probes, but the stalkers are going to blink in, so still gets 7. At the same time, Roach is on the third base, and this is him causing that chaos that we know Bly is great for. So here we go, and yeah, 9 probes going down, and just getting himself a whole lot of action. Is now more mutas on the way up, so going to double down on those F beams.
The classic. Let's see if that works out, as the Muta are still causing mayhem at the natural expansion, but not for long. A lot of them do get taken down, so that's a really nice bit of reprieve for Spatz, who is now deciding to push out on the map on the back of that. And I mean, those Muta that you said Bly was adding, and he has been adding, they would have been really nice if the rest of them hadn't died, but as it stands, they're going to be good for cutting reinforcements, but they're going to have to join with the army, I think, if Bly is going to stand any chance at holding. Though Spatz is giving him a little bit too much respect and backing, perhaps, again.
Feelings moving around, 24 of them on the way up, 6 Ravages coming through. Our Mutas are going to dive back onto the third. This is where Spatz just said, no, I've had enough of chasing Mutas around, but this is where Bly is usually pretty well prepared. He knows build Roaches at the right time. That's what Bly is so good at. He knows when to build what. Lings are going to run into the natural as well. Well, they should be. There we go. So they start to move through. The Spatz is all in with 4 Colossi and a group of Stalkers on the other side. I don't think Bly needs to dive too heavily into this. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, but he's going to get a Colossus. He's going to get 2. Okay,
almost 2. Okay, the other one gets saved. But that was absolutely wild. I mean, you did so much damage. All you got to do is buy time. You don't need this base. You have another 2 bases. You could pull drones right now if you want to fight. All right, the drones are pulled at least. As soon as those drones are out, just back away, or not even wait until then. I would have loved for them to shield another set of vials or something like that, but it's perfectly fine to bide your time if you're Bly right now. You win this game by waiting for more army than your opponent can produce, as your economy, or his economy, has been completely ravaged. This is looking like the beginning of the end, but he walks into his own vials to make the game more chaotic and exciting.
Oh, Bly, we love it. You don't have to make it that exciting, as that Colossi will micro up and down. Corrosive Vial's going to try and hit. They do not quite get the Colossus there. But the Stalker count going down. The Prism has to cancel the warp in. The Mutas are coming home. That means goodbye Prism. That means goodbye Colossi. That might just mean goodbye game, as plenty of Roaches are coming out. Spatz does not have much eco behind this. The Stalkers will blink in, but Bly has 10 more Roaches coming out, Caps.
Yeah, but 2 of them are gonna be misrallied and die in the middle of nowhere. The Ursadon watches. As this game is coming to a conclusion, yeah?
I was going to say, big mistake to get the Oracle there instead of the Prism. If you get rid of the Prism, like, Warpins just stop, you know? Whereas getting the Oracle doesn't really change much in that moment, as now the Mutas are going to try and chase the Prism down. The Stalkers will kite back and get most of the Mutas, so now it's just Roaches, Ravages, and Drones. And you gotta be a little careful, right? I mean, Spatz, he doesn't, he has actually now fixed his drone, or probe count, so he's going to be, you know, mining a little bit as well again. You can't just mine nothing here as Bly.
Yep. Muta, I think, we just got picked off as well by the Stalkers, so... I mean, Bly has 5 bases, right? And he has 49 workers, so right now, if he just holds off the aggression, he should be perfectly fine. Spatz is re-probing, or doing his best to, as Bly continues to just encroach forward and trying to get the best battles that he can on retreat. He is able to land a few of those. And Spatz, I mean, he's in a world of trouble. I don't know what you do from here. You don't really have any substantial tech either. I don't know that Colossus would be much helpful here either. Maybe Disruptors, I think.
Yeah, Gecko with Disruptors. Again, his economy currently is okay. The problem is he has no defense at home, so Ling's jumping on that mineral line is extremely scary for him. And he is going to start. He's actually going to recall the Stalkers home, so the Lings should just back off right now. No need to stick around for the Stalkers showing up unless he's just going to jump on the Stalkers. They can blink away, but they are choosing not to, so... Mistake there, and now the Lings actually will continue to look for Surround. Probes are pulling into fight. Nice. Roaches are going to come from the left-hand side, so where do you even go? Oh, actually, Bly's going to end up surrounding Spatz's third base, and that's going to do it. That's GG. Bly finds it 2-1 over Spatz.